Some people say Elvis Presley couldn't sing. They say he was just a pretty face who got lucky. They point to the bad movies, the jumpsuits, the weight gain. They see a caricature, a pop culture icon who sold 1 billion records, but wasn't a real musician. They think he just shook his hips and stole his sound from other artists. Is that the whole story? Not even close. When you ignore the noise and just listen to the recordings, a different picture emerges. It's the picture of a musical genius. Not a trained, technical genius who could write a symphony, but an instinctive, intuitive one. He was a master interpreter, a vocal chameleon, and a secret studio producer who could hear a song in his head and bend it to his will. His voice wasn't just a voice. It was an instrument. He could play it like a guitar, a saxophone, or a drum. He could be tender, then vicious. He could whisper, then roar. He blended sounds nobody had ever dared to mix before. This isn't about the legend. This is about the proof. The proof is in the grooves of the records. It's in the moments between the notes, in the phrasing of a single line, in the way he could command a room of seasoned musicians with nothing but an idea. We're going to listen closely to 16 specific recordings. These aren't all his biggest hits. They are musical exhibits, pieces of evidence that show what was really going on when the tape was rolling. This is the case for Elvis Presley, the musician. And it's a stronger case than you might think. Number 16. How can an accident create a revolution? The song is That's Alright. The date is July 5th, 1954. We're at Sun Studio in Memphis. The place is run by a man named Sam Phillips. For months, Phillips has been trying to get something special out of a young truck driver named Elvis Presley. The sessions are stiff. They're not working. Elvis is singing ballads, trying to sound like his hero, Dean Martin. Sam Phillips is about to send everyone home. The session is a failure. Then, during a break, something happens. Elvis picks up his guitar and starts fooling around. He's playing an old blues song by Arthur Big Boy Crudup. But he's not playing it like a blues song. He's playing it fast. He's bouncing around the studio, full of nervous energy. Guitarist Scotty Moore and bassist Bill Black jump in. Bill slaps his bass, creating a percussive sound that's more country than blues. Scotty plays a bright, clean guitar lick. It's a mess of sounds. It's country, it's blues, it's something else entirely. In the control room, Sam Phillips hears it. He sticks his head out the door. What the hell was that? He asks. He tells them to do it again, and this time he hits the record button. That's the moment. That's the take you hear on the record. It wasn't planned. You know, it was a happy accident, but genius isn't just about planning. It's about recognizing the magic in the accident. It's Elvis, in that moment of frustration and release, found a sound that didn't exist a minute before. He took a black blues song and filtered it through his white country upbringing. He didn't steal it, he transformed it. Music writer Peter Guralnick, in his definitive biography, Last Train to Memphis, describes the moment as a kind of spontaneous combustion. It wasn't calculated, it was pure, raw instinct. Elvis wasn't thinking about creating a new genre. You know, he was just being himself. He was letting all his influences, gospel, blues, country, pop spill out at once. The vocal is light, boyish, and full of a kind of breathless excitement. It doesn't have the swagger he would develop later. It has something more important: authenticity. It's the sound of a young man discovering his own voice. When local DJ Dewey Phillips, no relation to Sam, played the record on his Red, Hot and Blue radio show, the switchboard lit up. The callers wanted to know who the singer was. Some thought he was black, some thought he was white. They were all right. He was both. He was something new. The genius of That's Alright isn't in its complexity. It's in its simplicity and its earth-shattering originality. It's the sound of a door being kicked open. What if Sam Phillips had already packed up his tape and gone for a coffee? If that one spontaneous moment was never captured, would the entire history of modern music be different? And did Elvis even understand the gravity of what he'd just done, or was he just a kid happy to have finally recorded a song that felt right? Number 15, can a song be both empty and full? 2 years later, Elvis is no longer a local Memphis phenomenon. He's signed to the major label RCA Records. His first session in Nashville is in January 1956. The RCA executives want him to re-record his Sun hits to polish them up. They want to control his sound. Elvis has other ideas. He brings them a song called Heartbreak Hotel. It was written by Mayborn Axton and Tommy Durden, inspired by a newspaper article about a man who killed himself, leaving a note that said, "I walk a lonely street." It's a dark, strange song. It's slow, it's sparse. The lyrics are about loneliness so profound it leads to death. The RCA executives hated it. The producer on the session, Chet Atkins, a legendary guitarist and producer, was reportedly nervous. This was not the upbeat rock and roll they expected. This was something else. It was weird, it was morbid, but Elvis insisted. He had heard a demo and knew what he wanted to do with it. He took control of the arrangement in the studio. He wanted it to sound empty, to feel desolate. He asked for a specific kind of echo. The engineers at the RCA studio couldn't create the sound he wanted. It was too clean, so they used the studio's hallway. They put a speaker at one end and a microphone at the other. That's the famous slapback echo you hear on the record. It makes the song sound like it was recorded in a giant empty tomb. The genius here is Elvis's artistic vision. At just 21 years old, he had the confidence to defy a major record label and its top producers. He knew the song needed space. It needed to feel haunted. Listen to the instruments. Floyd Kramer's piano plays a simple, bluesy riff. Scotty Moore's guitar solo is jagged and stings like a wound. DJ Fontana's drumming is minimal, just a hard, simple backbeat. But the main instrument is the emptiness. And then there's Elvis's voice. It's not the boyish voice from That's All Right. It's menacing. It's sneering. When he sings, the desk clerk's dressed in black. You can see it. He snarls his way through the lyrics. He sounds dangerous. It's a performance of incredible control and theatricality. Heartbreak Hotel went to #1. It proved that Elvis was more than a fluke. He was an artist with a vision. He understood that a record's production, the sound, the feel, the atmosphere was just as important as the song itself. He used the studio as an instrument. Grau Marcus, in his book Mystery Train, calls the song a masterpiece of gloom. It was a statement. Elvis was telling the world he wasn't just here to make you dance. He was here to make you feel something, even if that something was uncomfortable. How does a 21-year-old develop the artistic conviction to fight an entire corporate machine on his very first session? Was the echo just a technical choice, or was Elvis trying to sonically represent the concept of loneliness itself? And what does it say about his instincts that the song everyone told him would fail became one of his most iconic hits? Number 14 is It's Stealing If You Make It Your Own. The song is Hound Dog. Everyone knows it, but not everyone knows where it came from. It was written by two young Jewish songwriters, Jerry Lieber and Mike Stoller. It was first recorded in 1952 by a powerful blues singer named Willie Mae Big Mama Thornton. Her version is a masterpiece of a different kind. It's a slow, grinding 12-bar blues. She's singing to a hound dog who is a cheap gigolo. Her voice is a force of nature. It's a classic blues performance. 4 years later, in July 1956, Elvis recorded it, and he turned it inside out. He had seen a Las Vegas act called Freddie Bell and the Bellboys do a comedic, sped-up version of the song. He took their tempo but stripped away the comedy. What he created was an explosion. It's not a slow blues song anymore. It's a sonic assault. It's 2 minutes and 16 seconds of pure, weaponized energy. The genius is in the act of reinterpretation. Elvis didn't just cover the song, he completely reimagined it. He changed its DNA. The session for Hound Dog was legendary. It took 31 takes. Elvis was a perfectionist. He knew the sound he wanted in his head, and he wouldn't stop until he got it. He pushed the band Scotty Moore, Bill Black, DJ Fontana, and the gospel backing group, the Jordanaires, to the limit. Listen to DJ Fontana's drumming. It's a relentless, driving beat full of snare drum fills that sound like gunshots. Listen to Scotty Moore's guitar solo. It's a frantic, chaotic masterpiece. And listen to Elvis's vocal. It's a riot of snarls, hiccups, and growls. He's not singing to a no-good man. The lyrics don't even make sense in this new context. It doesn't matter. The lyrics are just a vehicle for the sound, for the feeling. The feeling is pure teenage rebellion. This is the version that caused a national scandal. He performed it on the Milton Berle show, and his hip gyrations were deemed obscene. Ed Sullivan famously declared he would never have Elvis on his show, a promise he later broke. The controversy cemented Elvis's status as a threat to the establishment. But the real threat wasn't his hips. It was his music. He was taking black music and white music and smashing them together with such force that the old categories no longer applied. Some people call this cultural appropriation, but Lieber and Stoller, the original writers, loved Elvis's version. They knew he understood the song's spirit. He wasn't imitating Big Mama Thornton. He was creating something entirely new from the same source material. It's the difference between a copy and a collage. If Elvis had never heard the Freddie Bell version, would he have ever thought to record Hound Dog at all? Is it possible for a song to have two completely different, equally valid identities? And when an artist so thoroughly transforms a piece of music, at what point does it stop being a cover and start becoming a new creation? Number 13, how do you sing about love without shouting? By late 1956, Elvis was the most famous and controversial man in America. He was the king of a loud, aggressive new sound. So what did he do next? He recorded a whisper. The song was Love Me Tender. It was based on a Civil War era folk ballad called Ora Lee. Elvis was about to star in his first movie, and the producers needed a ballad. Ken Darby wrote the new lyrics and adapted the melody. Darby's wife Vera Mattson was credited as the co-writer, which allowed him to collect publishing royalties. While Elvis recorded it in August 1956, the session was different. There was no heavy drum beat. There were no electric guitars. It was just Elvis, his acoustic guitar, and a small backing group. The recording is incredibly intimate. It sounds like he's singing directly into your ear. The genius here is his vulnerability. In an era where male pop singers were either smooth crooners like Frank Sinatra or loud rockers like himself, Elvis found a third way. He sang with a breathtaking softness and sincerity. Listen to his vocal control. There are no vocal acrobatics. There are no snarls or growls. It's a pure, clean vocal line. He uses a gentle vibrato that makes his voice sound like it's trembling with emotion. His phrasing is perfect. He holds back, letting the simple melody and lyrics do the work. He understands that sometimes the quietest statement is the most powerful. This was a radical move for the king of rock and roll. It showed his incredible range, not just in terms of octaves, but in terms of emotion. He could be the swaggering rebel of Hound Dog and the gentle lover of Love Me Tender. He contained multitudes. The song was a phenomenon. It was released before the movie and sold over 1 million copies in advance, a first at the time. It went to number 1. It proved that Elvis's appeal wasn't just about rebellion. It was about connection. He could make millions of people feel like he was singing just for them. Music critic Dave Marsh has written extensively about Elvis's ability to convey intimacy. He argues that this vulnerability was just as revolutionary as his rock and roll swagger. It gave a generation of young men permission to be sensitive. It was a different kind of rebellion, a rebellion against the stoic, emotionally repressed masculinity of the 1950s. Why did a singer famous for being loud choose to record a song that was so quiet? Was this a calculated career move to broaden his audience, or was it a genuine expression of a softer side of his personality? And how did he manage to sound so sincere singing lyrics written by someone else based on a melody that was almost a century old? Number 12, can you hear a jail cell in a pop song? Jailhouse Rock is one of Elvis's most famous songs. It's the title track from his third movie, released in 1957. On the surface, it's a fun, cartoonish rock and roll song about a party in a prison. But if you listen closely, there's something more going on. The recording is brutal. It's one of the hardest, most aggressive sounding records of the 1950s. The genius is in its sonic violence. It doesn't just describe a jail, it sounds like one. The song was another Lieber and Stoller creation. They wrote it specifically for the movie. The recording session in April 1957 was intense. Elvis was at the peak of his early powers. He was driving the band relentlessly. The sound is thick and compressed. DJ Fontana's drums sound like they're being hit with hammers. The two electric guitars, played by Scotty Moore and Elvis himself, are sharp and percussive. Mike Stoller played the piano, and his part is a pounding boogie-woogie riff that adds to the chaos. But the key is Elvis's voice. It's not a singing voice in the traditional sense. It's a weapon. He barks the lyrics, he shouts, he stutters, he sounds unhinged. When he sings the line, the whole rhythm section was the Purple Gang. He spits the words out with a kind of delinquent glee. This is not the voice of a pop star. It's the voice of a punk rocker, 20 years before punk rock existed. The sound of the record is claustrophobic. It feels like the walls are closing in. There's very little echo or reverb. It's dry and in your face. This was a deliberate choice. They were creating a soundscape that matched the lyrical content. Many music historians, like Grail Marcus, see Jailhouse Rock as a pivotal moment. It's where rock and roll stopped being just fun and started being dangerous. The song's narrative is playful, but its sound is not. It's the sound of frustration, of caged energy. It perfectly captured the feeling of being a teenager in the conservative 1950s, friends full of energy with nowhere to put it. The recording itself became an act of rebellion. It was too loud, too raw, too aggressive for mainstream radio. And of course, it was a massive hit. Elvis proved again that his instincts were more in tune with the public than those of the gatekeepers. Was the raw, aggressive sound of the record a happy accident of the studio technology of the time, or was it a deliberate artistic choice by Elvis and the producers? How much of the anger in his voice was acting, and how much was a reflection of the real pressures of being the most famous person in the world? And could a song that sounds so violent be created by people who were just having fun? Number 11. Can a pop star sound like an opera singer? The year is 1960. Elvis is just out of the army. The world has changed. Rock and roll is tamer. The wild energy of the 50s is gone. Many people think Elvis is finished. His first post-army recording session in March 1960 is one of the most important of his career. He has to prove he's still relevant. He does it with a song that no one expected. The song is It's Now or Never. It's not a rock and roll song. It's based on O Sol Mio, a famous Italian opera song from 1898. The idea to record it was Elvis's. He had heard the song while stationed in Germany in a version by actor and singer Tony Martin. He fell in love with the melody. The genius of this recording is its sheer audacity. Elvis, the symbol of teenage rebellion, takes a piece of classical music and turns it into a global pop hit. It's a testament to his vocal ability and his musical curiosity. He wasn't just a rock singer. He was a singer, period. He could sing anything, and he could sell it. Listen to his performance. He starts the song in a relaxed conversational tone, but as the song builds, so does his voice. He pushes his range higher and higher. The final chorus is a display of incredible vocal power and control. He hits a high G sharp, a note that many trained opera singers would be proud of. It's a full-throated, powerful, operatic tenor sound. He's not faking it. He has the lung capacity and the technique to pull it off. This recording silenced the critics who said he couldn't sing. He wasn't just a hip shaker. He was a world-class vocalist. The song was a massive commercial success. It was #1 in countries all over the world. It sold over 20 million copies, making it one of the best-selling singles of all time. It redefined him as an artist. He was no longer just a kid's idol. He was a mature international star. This recording demonstrates his musical intelligence. He understood that to survive, he had to evolve. He couldn't keep making Jailhouse Rock forever. He had to show his audience that he had grown up with them. By blending old-world European melody with modern American pop, he created something new and timeless. According to his biographer, Peter Guralnick, this was a deliberate strategy to reposition himself as a more versatile entertainer, a plan that he and his manager, Colonel Tom Parker, had been working on for years. Did Elvis see this as a way to earn respect from the musical establishment that had dismissed him? How much formal or informal vocal training did he undertake to be able to sing with such power and precision? And if he had the vocal chops for opera, could he have pursued a completely different career in classical music if he had been born in another time or place? At number 10, can silence be the loudest part of a song? Are You Lonesome Tonight was a vaudeville-era ballad, first published in 1926. It had been recorded by dozens of artists. It was a favorite of Colonel Tom Parker's wife. He suggested Elvis record it. Elvis was hesitant. He thought it was old-fashioned. He recorded it during the same marathon session in April 1960 that produced It's Now or Never. He decided to do something strange with it. He decided to talk. The genius of this recording is in its spoken word bridge. After singing the first part of the song in a soft, intimate croon, the music drops away. Elvis begins to recite the lyrics, his voice full of kind of Shakespearean drama. It's a risky move. It could have sounded cheesy or ridiculous, but in Elvis's hands, it's mesmerizing. He delivers the lines with a quiet, heartbreaking sincerity. I wonder if you're lonesome tonight. Someone said that the world's a stage and each must play a part. He sounds completely alone. The recording itself is a happy accident. They were doing the take late at night. At the end of the song, Elvis bumped the microphone stand, creating a slight thud. He turned to the musicians and said, "Throw that part out." But the producer, Steve Scholes, kept it in. That little imperfection, along with a barely audible chuckle from Elvis, makes the recording feel even more real and intimate. According to the session musicians, the lights were turned down low in the studio to create a mood. Elvis sang his vocal live with the band, something he always preferred. This allowed for a more organic, emotional performance. The spoken bridge was Elvis's idea. It transformed a standard ballad into a mini play. It showcased another side of his talent, his acting ability. He wasn't just singing the words, he was inhabiting a character. The character was a lonely man looking back on a lost love. The performance is a masterclass in subtlety. He doesn't overact, he lets the words and the silence around them create the drama. When the music swells back up and he sings the final lines, the emotional impact is huge. The song became another massive #1 hit. It further solidified his image as a mature, sophisticated performer. It showed that his musical toolkit included not just power and range, but also nuance, timing, and a deep understanding of storytelling. Why did he choose to speak the lyrics instead of singing them? Was he drawing on acting techniques he had learned for his movies? And does the accidental sound of him bumping the microphone make the recording better by reminding us that behind the perfect voice is a real, imperfect human being? Number 9. What does freedom sound like? By the mid-1960s, Elvis was trapped. He was making a string of terrible movies with terrible soundtracks. He hadn't performed live in years. Musically, he was lost. Then came the Dylan session. In May 1966, in the middle of recording another worthless soundtrack, Elvis decided he had had enough. He told the producer he wanted to record some real music. He chose a Bob Dylan song, "Tomorrow is a Long Time." Dylan was the voice of the counterculture, the exact opposite of the Hollywood image Elvis was stuck in. Recording a Dylan song was a statement. The genius of this recording is in its profound sense of longing. Elvis doesn't try to imitate Dylan. He makes the song completely his own. The arrangement is simple, just a couple of acoustic guitars, a bass, and a harmonica. But the centerpiece is Elvis's voice. He sings it with a quiet, weary beauty. It's the sound of a man who is dreaming of escape. When he sings, if today was not an endless highway, if tonight was not a crooked trail, if tomorrow wasn't such a long time, then lonesome would mean nothing to you at all. The emotion is palpable. You can hear the years of frustration in his voice. This recording wasn't a hit single. In fact, RCA buried it on the soundtrack album for the movie Spin Out, but it's one of the most important recordings of his career. It was a lifeline. It proved that the artist was still alive inside the movie star. Bob Dylan himself heard it and was blown away. In a 1969 interview with Rolling Stone, Dylan said it was his favorite cover of any of his songs. He said, "That's the one recording I treasure the most." Coming from Dylan, that's high praise. The recording is a masterclass in interpretive singing. Elvis understands the poetry of Dylan's lyrics. He doesn't rush them, he lets each line breathe, his phrasing is delicate, he finds a melody in Dylan's words that Dylan himself only hinted at. The music historian Ernst Jorgensen, in his book Elvis Presley, A Life in Music, details how this session was a turning point. It was a small act of rebellion that planted the seed for the big one that was to come, the '68 comeback special. Tomorrow is a Long Time is the sound of Elvis remembering who he was. Why, out of all the songs in the world, did Elvis choose to record a song by Bob Dylan, an artist who seemed to represent everything he was not? Was he trying to send a message to his fans or to his record label or just to himself? And if this one recording had never happened, would he have found the strength to break out of his Hollywood prison? Question number 8, can a voice be a prayer and a protest? The year is 1968. America is on fire. Martin Luther King Jr. has been assassinated. Robert F. Kennedy has been assassinated. There are riots in the streets. The Vietnam War is raging. Elvis is about to make a comeback. He's filming a TV special for NBC. The original plan is for it to be a cheesy Christmas show. And Elvis and the director, Steve Binder, have other ideas. They want to make a statement. The show's finale is a new song, written specifically for the moment by Walter Earl Brown. The song is If I Can Dream. Elvis recorded it in June 1968. The session was electric. According to the engineers and musicians who were there, it was one of the most incredible vocal performances they had ever witnessed. And Elvis sang it live with a full orchestra. He sang it in the dark with only a single light on his face. He poured every ounce of his being into the song. The genius of this recording is its raw, desperate passion. It's not just a song, it's an exorcism. Listen to his voice. It starts as a near whisper, full of pain and uncertainty. There must be lights burning brighter somewhere, got to be birds flying higher in a sky more blue. As the song builds, his voice gets stronger, more defiant. The lyrics are a direct response to the chaos happening in the country. They're a plea for peace, for understanding, for a better world. By the end of the song, Elvis is on his knees, screaming the lyrics. If I can dream of a better land, where all my brothers walk hand in hand, tell me why. Oh why can't my dream come true? It's a performance of staggering emotional power. It's the sound of a man who has been silent for too long, finally finding his voice. He had to fight to get the song on the show. Colonel Parker hated it. He thought it was too political. He wanted Elvis to end the special with Silent Night. Elvis stood his ground. He told the producers, "I'm never going to sing another song I don't believe in." This was a new Elvis. He wasn't just an entertainer anymore. He was an artist with something to say. If I Can Dream connected him to the turbulent times he was living in. It made him relevant again. It proved that he was more than just a nostalgia act. He was a vital, contemporary artist who could speak to the heart of a troubled nation. Was Elvis singing about the state of the world, or was he also singing about his own personal struggles and his dream of artistic freedom? How did a man who had been so isolated in Hollywood manage to deliver a performance that so perfectly captured the national mood? And what would have happened to his career if he had backed down and ended his comeback special with A Christmas Carol? Number 7. How can a holy song also be rock and roll? Elvis Presley won 3 Grammy Awards in his career. They were all for his gospel music. This surprises people. They think of him as a rock and roller, but gospel was his first love. It was the music he grew up with. It was the music he returned to throughout his life for comfort and inspiration. His 1967 album, How Great Thou Art, is a landmark, and the title track is perhaps the greatest single gospel performance he ever recorded. The song itself is a traditional hymn based on a Swedish poem. It's been recorded by hundreds of artists. But Elvis's version is definitive. He recorded it in May 1966. The genius of the performance is in its dynamic range and its absolute conviction. Elvis isn't just singing the words, he believes them. You can hear it in every note. This isn't a performance for a pop audience, this is a personal testament of faith. The arrangement builds slowly. It starts with a quiet organ and the gentle backing vocals of the Jordanaires and the Imperials. Elvis sings the first verse in a low, reverent register. His voice is warm and full. As the song progresses, the intensity grows, the orchestra comes in, the choir swells, and Elvis's voice soars above it all. He moves effortlessly from a soft, prayerful tone to a powerful, operatic roar. The final verse is a vocal tour de force. He holds a high note for what seems like an eternity, his voice filled with a passion that transcends genre. It's a sound that is both human and divine. Many of his fellow musicians, like Jerry Schilling, his longtime friend, have said that the gospel sessions were different. There was a different energy in the room. It wasn't about making hit records. It was about making music that mattered. Elvis was more relaxed, more focused, more joyful. He was at home. This performance shows the true foundation of his musical genius. All the elements of his rock and roll and ballad singing at the power, the control, the phrasing, the emotion came from his gospel roots. In gospel music, you have to be able to sing with both quiet intimacy and earth-shaking power. Elvis was a master of both. How Great Thou Art isn't just a great gospel song. It's one of the greatest vocal performances of the 20th century. Could a person who didn't have a deep spiritual belief sing this song with such overwhelming conviction? Is it possible that Elvis's rock and roll career was, in a strange way, just a detour from his true calling as a gospel singer? And why did the music industry, which often dismissed him as a serious artist, choose to honor him only for his religious recordings? Number 6. Can a song be about one thing and everything? The year is 1969. Elvis is back. The 68 special was a triumph. Now he's in Memphis at American Sound Studio, recording with a gritty, funky session band led by producer Chips Moman. This is a different Elvis. He's older, wiser, and his voice has a new depth and richness. He's recording some of the best music of his career. One of the first songs they cut is In the Ghetto, written by a young country songwriter named Mac Davis. It's a story song about the cycle of poverty and violence. A boy is born poor in Chicago, learns to steal and fight, buys a gun, and dies, just as another baby is born into the same hopeless situation. This was a risky song for Elvis to record. It was a social commentary song, a protest song. It was the kind of thing Bob Dylan or Johnny Cash would do. It wasn't typical Elvis material. But he insisted on recording it. The genius of In the Ghetto is in Elvis's restrained narrative vocal. He's not a preacher or a politician, he's a storyteller. He sings with a profound sense of empathy and sadness. Listen to his delivery. He doesn't oversing. He lets the power of the story carry the song. His voice is clear, direct, and full of a quiet sorrow. When he sings the final lines, and his lonely mother cries, as another little baby child is born in the ghetto, his voice almost breaks. It's a moment of incredible emotional honesty. He makes you feel the tragedy of the story. The arrangement is perfect. It's simple and atmospheric, with a beautiful string section that adds to the sense of melancholy without being overly sentimental. The song was a massive hit. It reached number 3 on the charts. It proved that Elvis could be both a commercial powerhouse and a serious artist. He was using his platform to talk about important issues. He was taking a risk, and it paid off. According to Chip's Moman, Elvis was deeply involved in every aspect of the Memphis sessions. He wasn't just a singer for hire. He was shaping the arrangements, suggesting instrumentation, and pushing the musicians to get the right feel. In the Ghetto is the sound of a mature artist, fully in control of his craft, using his voice to tell a story that needed to be told. Was Elvis making a political statement, or was he simply drawn to the human drama of the song's story? How did a man who lived a life of such extreme wealth and privilege connect so deeply with a song about poverty and hopelessness? And, did the success of this song open the door for other mainstream artists to tackle more serious subject matter? Number 5, how do you make Paranoia sound so good? It's from the same legendary 1969 Memphis sessions. The song is Suspicious Minds, written by Mark James. It's a song about a relationship being torn apart by jealousy and mistrust. It's an emotional roller coaster, and the recording is one of the most unique and complex productions in pop music history. The genius here is twofold: Elvis's powerhouse vocal performance and the song's groundbreaking arrangement. The song is a masterclass in tension and release. It starts with a distinctive, bubbling electric guitar riff. Elvis's vocal is initially restrained, almost conversational, but as the song progresses, the intensity builds. The backing vocals, the horns, the strings, everything swells into a storm of sound. The chorus is an explosion of emotion. We can't go on together with suspicious minds, and we can't build our dreams on suspicious minds. Elvis sings it with a desperate, frantic energy, but the most famous part of the song is the bridge. The tempo changes. It slows down into a different time signature, a waltz like 3/4 time. The music gets softer. Elvis sings, "Oh, let our love survive," or "Dry the tears from your eyes." It's a moment of quiet pleading in the middle of a storm, and then the song comes crashing back into the main tempo. It's a brilliant piece of musical theater, but the strangest part is the ending. The song fades out as if it's over. Then, after a few seconds of silence, it fades back in, even more intense than before, for a final explosive coda. This fade-out, fade-in was an idea from producer Chip's Moman, an unusual and risky choice that became one of the song's most memorable features. Elvis's vocal performance is incredible. He's navigating the complex arrangement with ease, moving from tenderness to rage, from desperation to hope. It's a marathon performance, and he never loses control. Suspicious Minds became his 18th and final #1 single in the United States during his lifetime. It was the triumphant anthem of his comeback. It's a perfect pop record, but it's also a deeply emotional and musically sophisticated piece of work. It's the sound of an artist at the absolute peak of his powers. Whose idea was the dramatic time signature change in the bridge, and how much rehearsal did it take for the band to nail it? Was the famous false fade ending a planned artistic statement about the cyclical nature of doubt, or was it just a clever studio trick to make the record stand out on the radio? and is the song's enduring power due to its musical complexity or its universally relatable theme of love and mistrust. Number 4, can one song contain a whole country? By the early 1970s, Elvis was the king of Las Vegas. His live shows were legendary spectacles. He had a full orchestra, a gospel choir, and the best rock and roll band in the business. He needed a showstopper, a big epic number that could close his show. He found it in a medley arranged by a young songwriter and conductor named Mickey Newbury. The song was an American trilogy. It wasn't one song, but 3. It combined Dixie, the anthem of the old Confederate South, the battle hymn of the Republic, the anthem of the Union North, and All My Trials, a black spiritual about slavery and hope. The genius of this recording is its ambition and its symbolism. Elvis, a poor boy from Tupelo, Mississippi, was taking these 3 conflicting pieces of American history and weaving them together into a single, powerful statement of unity. It was a deeply political act, disguised as a piece of showbiz bombast. In the aftermath of the Civil Rights Movement and the ongoing turmoil of the Vietnam War, Elvis was using his stage to try and heal a divided nation. The live performance, captured on his 1972 album Elvis as Recorded at Madison Square Garden, is breathtaking. It starts quietly, with Elvis singing the mournful lyrics of Dixie over a simple flute melody. It's a controversial choice, but he sings it not as a celebration of the Confederacy, but as a sad folk song. Then the tempo picks up and the band kicks in. He moves into the spiritual All My Trials, his voice full of soul and empathy. The gospel choir, J.D. Sumner and the Stamps, provides powerful backing. The song then builds to its incredible climax. The orchestra swells, the choir roars, and Elvis launches into a triumphant, full-throated rendition of the Battle Hymn of the Republic. Glory, glory, hallelujah. A flute player plays a solo that sounds like a fife on a Civil War battlefield. A drummer plays a military snare roll. It's pure, over-the-top, glorious theater. This was Elvis the conductor. He wasn't just singing, he was directing the entire musical force on stage. He was controlling the dynamics, from a whisper to a thunderous crescendo. It was a performance that only he could pull off. He had the southern roots to sing Dixie with authenticity, the gospel background to sing All My Trials with soul, and the sheer vocal power to sing the battle hymn with patriotic fervor. He was embodying the contradictions of America itself and trying to find harmony in them. Was Elvis fully aware of the complex political statement he was making by combining these 3 specific songs? How did audiences in the North and South react differently to the performance? And in today's even more polarized world, could an artist ever attempt such a unifying and controversial performance again? Number 3, how raw can a human voice be? The song is Mystery Train. This takes us back to the beginning. It's his last recording for Sun Records, made in July 1955. The original version was recorded by a bluesman named Junior Parker. Parker's version is a classic piece of moody, atmospheric blues. It's slow, haunting, and pessimistic. The train in the song is taking his baby away, and he knows she's gone for good. Elvis and his band took that song and completely flipped its meaning. The genius of this recording is its youthful optimism and its revolutionary sound. In Elvis's version, the train is still taking his baby, but he's not sad about it. He's defiant. Train I ride, 16 coaches long. Well, that long black train got my baby and gone, but it ain't never gonna come back. No, it ain't never gonna come back. He sounds happy about it. He's free. It's a declaration of independence. The sound of the record is otherworldly. Sam Phillips drenched it in his signature slapback echo, making it sound like it was recorded in a dream. Scotty Moore's guitar playing is incredible. He plays a continuous, circular riff that sounds like the wheels of the train itself. Bill Black's slapped bass provides the relentless chugging rhythm. Elvis's vocal is light and ethereal. He floats over the top of the music. His voice is treated with so much echo that it becomes another instrument, a ghostly presence, where he hiccups and stammers, adding to the song's strange, hypnotic feel. Greil Marcus named his classic book on American music after this song. He argues that Mystery Train is a metaphor for America itself, a country of endless possibilities, of movement, of leaving the past behind. Elvis's version isn't just a cover song, it's a fundamental rewriting of the American dream. In Junior Parker's blues song was about fate and loss. Elvis's rockabilly version is about freedom and the future. He took a story of defeat and turned it into a story of triumph. This is the essence of his early genius. He was a musical alchemist. He could take base materials, blues, country, gospel, and turn them into gold. Mystery Train is the sound of a young man and a young country speeding into an unknown future and not being afraid. How much of the song's ghostly atmosphere was a deliberate choice by Sam Phillips, and how much was a limitation of the technology in his studio? Did Elvis consciously decide to change the song's meaning to one of optimism, or was that just a natural result of his own youthful energy? And is it possible that this one recording, with its themes of movement and freedom, contains the entire DNA of what rock and roll would become? Number 2. Can a broken man deliver a perfect performance? It's June 21st, 1977. Elvis is on his last tour. He is in Rapid City, South Dakota. He is visibly ill. He is overweight, bloated, and sweating profusely under the stage lights. His manager has arranged for a TV special to be filmed. The cameras are rolling. He sits down at the piano. He's not a great piano player, but he can play well enough. He tells the audience he wants to sing a song. The song is Unchained Melody. He's been performing it in his live shows. This performance, captured on film just weeks before his death, is one of the most powerful and heartbreaking moments of his entire career. The genius of this performance is its raw, unvarnished honesty. There are no tricks. There is no showbiz glamour. It's just a man, a piano, and a voice. And that voice is still, somehow, magnificent. He's struggling. You can see the physical effort it takes for him to sing. But he pours every last bit of energy he has into the song. His voice is thick with emotion. When he sings the line, "I need your love," it's not just a lyric. It's a desperate plea. The performance builds to an incredible climax. The orchestra comes in. His voice soars, hitting notes of astonishing power and clarity. For a few moments, the sick, tired man disappears, and all that's left is the artist, the pure singer. He is completely lost in the music. It's a performance of defiance. He's fighting against his failing body, against his demons, against time itself. It's a man raging against the dying of the light. The final note hangs in the air, a testament to the enduring power of his spirit. This performance is difficult to watch. It's a window into his pain, but it's also a profound artistic statement. It proves that even at his lowest point, the musical genius was still there. The voice was still an instrument of incredible beauty and power. Many critics and fans consider this to be his last great performance. It's a tragic and beautiful farewell. It's Elvis stripped bare, with nothing left but his talent. And it was more than enough. It was everything. Was he aware that this was being filmed for a national TV special, and did that add to the pressure and emotional weight of the performance? Was he singing to a specific person, or was he singing to his lost youth, his lost health, his lost dreams? And is it possible for an artist to create their most profound work, not in spite of their suffering, but because of it? Number 1, can a voice be a place? There is one recording that encapsulates all of it. The power, the vulnerability, the swagger, the tenderness, the fusion of genres, the sheer instinctive musicality. It's not one of his biggest hits. It's not a rock and roll anthem. It's a live performance from the 1968 comeback special. He's on the small, in the round stage, dressed in black leather. He's with his original musicians, Scotty Moore and DJ Fontana. He looks lean, hungry, and dangerous. He's just finished a blistering version of One Night. The crowd is going wild. He takes a breath, and with a grin, he launches into Trying to Get to You. The song was originally recorded by a rhythm and blues group in 1954. Elvis had recorded it himself back at Sun Records in 1955. But this version is something else entirely. This isn't a recording, it's a resurrection. The genius of this performance is its pure, unadulterated joy and its absolute command. This is Elvis Presley in his natural habitat. He is in complete control of the music, the audience, and himself. His voice is an incredible instrument. It's a blues shout, a gospel cry, a rock and roll sneer, all at once. He starts the song with a powerful guttural roar. He attacks the lyrics, he bends notes. He plays with the rhythm, he ad-libs, he laughs in the middle of a line, he's having the time of his life, and you can hear it. He's not just singing a song, he's testifying, he's telling the story of his own journey, of his long road back from the wilderness of Hollywood. I've been running all the way. I've been traveling night and day. I'm trying to get to you. He's not just singing to a lover. He's singing to his audience. He's singing to his own soul. He's reclaiming his crown. The band is locked in with him. Scotty Moore's guitar playing is sharp and economical. DJ Fontana's drumming is simple and powerful. They're not just backing him up, they're having a conversation with him. It's the sound of three men who changed the world getting back together and reminding everyone how they did it. This 2.5 minute performance is a distillation of everything that made Elvis a genius. It's the fusion of black and white music, it's the raw, untamed energy, it's the sophisticated vocal control disguised as wild abandon. It's the charisma, the danger, and the overwhelming talent. This is not the work of a pretty face who got lucky. This is the work of a master musician at the top of his game. This is the proof. What was going through his mind in that moment, sitting just a few feet away from the fans after years of being isolated. If the 1968 special had failed, would this raw, powerful version of Elvis have been lost forever? And finally, if you could only play one recording to convince someone of Elvis Presley's musical genius, is there any better choice than this?